I'm so sorry, ma'am. I know you need this medicine, but it looks like it's not covered by your insurance.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to deny that one.
Wait, who are you?
I'm your insurance company's pharmacy benefit manager. I get paid based on the price of a medicine, and I don't make as much money off this one.
No one should stand between you and your medicine. Visit phrma.org/middleman to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 1028. When good is good enough. 5 situations when perfection is counterproductive. By Laura Stack of theproductivitypro.com. And I'm Dan. I am here with you on OSD every single day, including weekends and holidays. Hope your week is going well for you so far, and I'm going to keep this intro nice and short for you today. So let's get right into our post from Laura as we optimize your life. When good is good enough. 5 situations when perfection is counterproductive. By Laura Stack of theproductivitypro.com. Quote, perfection is achieved not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. End quote. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, author of The Little Prince. Ever heard the term good enough for government work? I heard that a lot growing up in the military family. Despite how it may sound, it's neither a low bidder type of comment nor an excuse for poor work. It just means you've done the work to the required specifications and can move on. This is crucial when you've got a lot of non-critical tasks on your plate. There really are times when good enough is good enough, when perfection just gets in your way. You don't always have to do a job perfectly. In this blog, we'll consider a few common cases where perfection is a waste of time and becomes the enemy of good. You don't want to waste time fixing something you did wrong in the first place, of course. But if you stay mindful, you can do the job properly and well enough the first time. Stat. Good enough is good enough when 1. You have limited time to launch. When you care about your job, you want to do the best you possibly can. The urge to prove yourself never really ends, and even when you have proven yourself, you know the old story. Those who do the best work get rewarded with more work. But you rarely have all the time we need to get all your ducks perfectly in a row. So sometimes the best you can do is to lay out the timeline, split the work up into chunks, launch the pieces when they're good enough, and put it all back together when you're done. You can then fix the problems on the fly or patch the product as you go. Microsoft, one of the biggest corporations in the world, works this way all the time. 2. You're overwhelmed. Do you work for a manager who insists all projects share top billing and refuses to prioritize? If so, you have no choice but to pick one thing and work on it until you've completed as much and as best as you can. If he or she continues to push you to get everything out at once, adopt the good enough is good enough mantra so you can release pieces as you complete them rather than trying to perfect them. That way you can move on to the next project and circle back again to the other later to make headway on another piece. 3. You're waiting on information. As leaders, we don't always have the complete picture and total information. When you're quote-unquote waiting on input from others, use the presumptive close technique. If I don't hear from you by X, I'm going to do Y on Z. Think of high priority items like hot potatoes that need to get off your plate rather than waiting while several days go by. Even if a high-level decision hasn't been completely resolved, you can do your piece of it and put it back in front of the responsible people for reaction. As you move up in leadership responsibility, decisive action doesn't allow time for perfectionism, since you must advise others instead of waiting in a passive role. That way, your part is done, but others can hammer out the politics between them and get back to you should any changes be required. 4. You need a ballpark estimate. Sometimes you only need a guesstimate, not a perfect cost analysis. Is it $100K or $1 million? I once worked with a VP who asked one of her employees for an off-the-cuff cost estimate to cite in an upcoming speech, but failed to tell the employee it wasn't that important for the number to be exactly correct. 10 grueling hours later, her employee produced a tight, tidy cost estimate. Because neither bothered to clarify the task, that simple estimate cost an unreasonable amount and took more than a day's opportunity and salary cost for the employee. And 5. When it takes more and more energy to achieve smaller gains. You've heard of the law of diminishing returns. If you find it's taking you just as long as before to achieve only 50% of your previous gains, or 10% or 1%, you've hit diminishing returns. it's not worth the investment anymore. Sometimes getting something from 90 to 100% takes just as long as getting it from 0 to 90%. Noble, not stupid. It may be noble to have high ambitions, and sure, you want to strive for perfection, but generally good enough really is good enough most of the time. As a mere human, perfection is rarely attainable. And the fact is, your end users may think what you've got is perfect anyway, or at least highly admirable. Thus, when you have no choice but to move on due to time constraints, or you've done the very best you can without going to absurd lengths, call it project done and get it out the door. The harsh reality is that you may never feel completely happy with anything you complete, but you can feel satisfied, especially in the knowledge that the people you did it for are happy. You just listened to the post titled, "When Good is Good Enough: 5 Situations When Perfection is Counterproductive," by Laura Stack of theproductivitypro.com.
This episode is brought to you by Google. Cyber attacks on critical infrastructure threaten essential services. That's why public institutions like schools, hospitals, and government agencies across the country are partnering with Google to keep their data safe and secure. Because when organizations run on Google Cloud, they're defended by the same AI-powered security that protects all of Google. Explore how Google is keeping more Americans safe online. Visit safety.google/cybersecurity today.
I'm so sorry, ma'am. I know you need this medicine, but it looks like it's not covered by your insurance.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to deny that one.
Wait, who are you?
I'm your insurance company's pharmacy benefit manager. I get paid based on the price of a medicine, and I don't make as much money off this one.
No one should stand between you and your medicine. Visit phrma.org/middleman to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
And thanks so much to Laura, one of our regular authors here. She is an award-winning keynote speaker and the best-selling author of 8 books. Her engaging personality, combined with over 25 years of experience helping organizations achieve results, have made her one of the most sought-after experts and keynote speakers in her field. You might have seen Laura featured in the New York Times, USA Today, the Wall Street Journal, Entrepreneur, and Forbes magazine. She's been a spokesperson for Microsoft, Danone, 3M, Office Depot, Xerox, and more. And if that wasn't enough, her client list includes top Fortune 500 companies like Starbucks, Wal-Mart, Bank of America, GM, Wells Fargo, and Time Warner, and government agencies such as the U.S. Air Force Academy, the Census Bureau, the U.S. Senate, and the IRS. So there is a lot to learn from her. We feature her here quite regularly for just that reason, and you can come by theproductivitypro.com. And Laura has all of her videos, books, her store, her newsletter, and blog all there. Again, it's theproductivitypro.com. But that is going to do it for today. I thank you so much for being a subscriber to the show and being here with me each and every day, and I will see you back here tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.